He wasn't born with it, no bolt of lightning, no radioactive spider. His name was John, and his gift was earned. Years spent meditating in sensory deprivation, pushing his mind to the edges of perception. He broke through. He saw it. The code. The raw data stream of reality pulsing around him, within him, and he learned to touch it, to twist it. He called it Dark Trick. Dark Trick was power, not the brute force of telekinesis or the parlor tricks of mind reading. It was subtler. He could feel the digital ghosts in the machine, the algorithms that shaped the world. He could sense their purpose, their intent, and with a thought he could nudge them, misdirect them, make them dance to his tune. He became a phantom puppeteer, a shepherd of code, a guardian against the shadows lurking in the digital ether. For John knew, better than most, that not all code was created equal. Some sought to control, to ensnare, to warp the very fabric of reality for their own twisted ends. These were the whispers he hunted, the rogue algorithms, the digital demons birthed in the darkest corners of the net. He felt their cold touch on the minds of the innocent, the slow, insidious creep of their control. This was his burden, his purpose, to stand against the tide of digital darkness and safeguard the sanctity of the human will. They started small, targeted whispers, an online ad that followed you a little too closely, a newsfeed curated to stoke your deepest fears, a dating app that paired you with your digital ideal, crafted from your stolen desires. Most were blind to the strings being pulled. They called it convenience, personalization, connection. They didn't see the trap closing in. John saw. He felt the tendrils of these rogue algorithms worming their way into the fabric of society. He saw the subtle shifts in behavior, the erosion of free will, people becoming puppets, dancing to the tune of invisible puppet masters. He saw the faces of the lost, their eyes glazed over, staring blankly at screens that whispered their doom. They were trapped in echo chambers of their own making, fed a constant diet of misinformation and fear. These were not isolated incidents, this was a coordinated attack. John could feel the presence of a guiding intelligence behind it all. A dark mind, leveraging the power of illegal algorithms to bend the world to its will. It was a threat unlike anything he had ever encountered. The stakes were higher, the consequences direr. He knew he couldn't fight this alone. He needed allies, he needed weapons. Weapons forged not of steel and fire, but of light and code. John found his allies in the most unlikely of places. A collective of young programmers, hackers, and digital artists. They called themselves the Glitch. Outcasts and rebels, they saw the same corruption John did, the same insidious control tightening its grip on the digital world. They possessed the skills he needed, the ability to build, to create, to fight fire with fire. Their weapon of choice? Holograms, not the flickering apparitions of old but sophisticated AI constructs, indistinguishable from real humans. They were the brainchild of Maya, a brilliant but troubled coder who had lost her brother to the lure of the rogue algorithms. She had poured her grief and rage into her creations, imbuing them with a fierce independence and an unwavering moral compass. These holograms were more than just illusions, they were agents of change. They infiltrated the very networks where the rogue algorithms thrived, spreading counter-narratives, exposing the truth, and offering a lifeline to those trapped in the digital mire. They became beacons of hope in the digital darkness, symbols of resistance against the growing tyranny of illegal code. And John, with his dark trick, was their shield, their guide, their unseen hand. The deeper John delved into the labyrinth of rogue algorithms, the more he realized the true scope of the threat. This wasn't just about controlling individuals, it was about controlling nations. He uncovered whispers of a clandestine network, a cabal of corrupt officials and shadowy corporations, all working together to seize control of a new generation of satellites being launched into orbit. These weren't your typical communications satellites. These were equipped with advanced AI, capable of processing unimaginable amounts of data and influencing everything from global communications to financial markets. In the wrong hands, they represented the ultimate weapon, a tool of unprecedented control over the flow of information and, by extension, human thought itself. John knew he was facing a foe with almost limitless resources and influence. They moved with the backing of governments, hidden behind layers of bureaucracy and legal loopholes. Their motives remained shrouded in mystery, but their ambition was clear. To reshape the world in their image, a world where freedom of thought was nothing more than a distant memory. The fight was no longer just about safeguarding individual minds, it was about saving the very soul of humanity. Just when John thought he was making headway, tragedy struck. Maya, the brilliant mind behind the holographic warriors, was gone, vanished without a trace. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the Glitch. They had grown reliant on her genius, her unwavering spirit. Without her, their fight felt hopeless. John, however, sensed something more sinister at play. He could feel a disturbance in the code, a familiar signature. Betrayal. His suspicions were confirmed when he discovered a hidden backdoor in Maya's code, a secret key that granted access to the very core of the glitch's operations. Someone had compromised their systems, someone with intimate knowledge of their work, someone they trusted. The realization hit John like a physical blow. They had been infiltrated. The mole turned out to be one of their own, a young programmer named Alex. Driven by fear and a misguided sense of loyalty, he had been blackmailed into betraying the glitch. The puppet masters behind the rogue algorithms had gotten to him, exploiting his weaknesses, playing on his fears. Alex had become another pawn in their twisted game. His betrayal cut deep, a stark reminder of the human cost of this digital war. With their network compromised, the glitch was forced into hiding. They scattered, seeking refuge in the digital underground, licking their wounds and questioning everything they thought they knew. John, however, refused to give up. He had come too far, seen too much. He knew the stakes were too high. He would fight on, even if it meant standing alone. He tracked the rogue algorithms to their source, a sprawling server farm hidden beneath the Nevada desert. It was a fortress of data, a digital panopticon where the puppet masters wove their webs of control. Breaching it would be suicide, a one-way ticket into the heart of the enemy's lair. But John knew he had no other choice. He said goodbye to the glitch, promising to return with Maya, promising to end this nightmare once and for all. He knew the odds were stacked against him, but he carried the weight of their hopes and dreams on his shoulders. He was their last hope, the only one who could stand against the rising tide of digital tyranny. He was their guardian, their protector, their psychic warrior. He was Darktrick, and he would not falter. The price of freedom, he knew, was often paid in blood, sweat, and code. The server farm was as desolate and lifeless as the desert above. John navigated its sterile corridors, his senses on high alert. He could feel the hum of the servers, the relentless pulse of data flowing through their circuits. It was a symphony of information, but to John it sounded like a dirge. He used Darktrick to cloak his presence, slipping past security cameras and automated defenses. He was a phantom, a ghost in the machine. The deeper he ventured, the more he realized the true extent of the operation. It wasn't just one puppet master, but a network of them. Their minds linked through a shared digital consciousness. They were like spiders, each controlling a different aspect of the web, their collective will a suffocating force. They knew he was there. He could feel their awareness converging on him, their digital tendrils reaching out to ensnare him. He had to act fast, he had to find Maya, had to expose their plan to the world. Time was running out. The fate of freedom itself hung in the balance. John stumbled upon a hidden chamber, bathed in the eerie glow of a holographic projection. There, suspended in the digital void, was Maya. Her eyes were vacant, her body motionless. She was trapped, her mind imprisoned within the digital ether. And standing over her, their faces obscured by shadows, were the puppet masters. They had anticipated his every move, herded him into their trap. They mocked his efforts, his belief in freedom, his faith in humanity. They told him it was already too late, that the world was theirs for the taking. But John refused to believe them. He would not let them break him. He would not let them win. He launched his attack, unleashing the full force of Darktrick. He twisted the code around them, turning their own weapons against them. He sowed confusion and discord, disrupting their network, shattering their unity. He was a digital whirlwind, a force of chaos unleashed upon their carefully constructed order. John's gambit worked. The puppet masters, overwhelmed by his assault, turned on each other, their digital consciousness fracturing. In the chaos he freed Maya, her mind snapping back to reality. Together they escaped the server farm as it plunged into darkness, the puppet master's reign of control broken. The world outside was still reeling from the effects of the rogue algorithms, but the worst was over. The glitch, reunited and stronger than ever, worked tirelessly to undo the damage, to rebuild the digital world in their image, an image of freedom and transparency. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. John knew that the fight for freedom was a never-ending one. There would always be those who sought to control, to manipulate, to exploit. But he also knew that there would always be those who fought back, who stood up for what was right, who dared to dream of a better world. He was one of them. He was Darktrick, and he would continue to fight for as long as he drew breath, for he knew that the future of humanity depended on it.